Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, maybe for some of you. Uh, we are together again. It's a session number 35. You can imagine how many times we've been doing this already. This time in English. I have to remind you that we do it one time in Russian, one time in English, just to practice my skills of speaking English and your skills of comprehending my broken English. As usual, you ask me questions in the text form, and I try to answer out loud, trying to be as much possible. I'm trying to be as much as it's possible honest and helpful to you. The objective of this discussion is to give you some information which will help you to do your work. And we are talking about software development, management in software teams, maybe a little bit about career, maybe a little bit about object-oriented programming, which is hard to discuss usually in this format. So I kindly ask you not to ask very detailed technical questions because I don't have the board to draw the diagrams. I don't have the notepad to write the code. That's why we discussed mostly high-level questions, and I'm mostly interested to hear your stories about management, about the situations in your work environment, and this is where I can provide help. I can give you my opinion, which you may apply to your regular situations, everyday situations. Getting to the questions. First one, the question Roman is asking. I noticed that when you discuss problems in various areas, you pay more attention to the world historical component and say nothing about your personal dissatisfaction. Roman is saying that about me. For example, when you heard news that YouTube was being blocked, you did not express regret about me losing the results of my work. Well, I do feel the regrets. Of course, I do feel some negativity about that. And sometimes you're right. Your observation is right. I'm trying to do that on purpose. I feel that when I speak in front of you guys, I shouldn't speak about myself as much, but more about you, about something that is important for you, which may help you. And if some story, which is mine, can help you, then I tell this story. But just saying something about my personal feelings and yelling about some situations, how does it help you? I don't see that. So that's, and in general, I'm more interested in generalization and abstractions instead of specifics. And this is, I kind of train myself to do that. I know that many people, and actually most people, this is my observation, that most people are more interested in discussing specific things. How much this costs and how much it will cost next month, how to get a better apartment, how to buy a better car, how to implement that piece of code today and now, how to fix this bug so that it works. And some people are more interested in higher level questions. For example, in general, why these cars are getting more expensive, and what's the root cause of that? Why it's happening? What's standing behind that? Or why this bug is in our code? What's the root cause of that? How did it happen that we have this bug? How in general we have to attack that kind of problem so that we don't have that bugs in the future? Or maybe even, and these people are in the minority. The people who discuss abstract questions. The people who discuss specific questions, they are in a vast majority. If you join the conversation with somebody over lunch, look at what people are talking about. Listen to that. If people are talking about specific things, specific incidents of certain of certain problems, and they are interested in solving those specific cases, then you're dealing with people of one kind. Let's put it this way. And if you happen to talk to people who are asking questions of a higher level, like in general what it means, then you deal with different people. And some people are talking about things which are of the highest level of abstraction. For example, You may discuss why, in general, the question of bug fixing is important to us. Why? So these people are asking the question why multiple times. They are interested to find the problems, the things, the thoughts which are standing behind the surface. And these are people are definitely in a very, very small minority. I'm trying to teach myself, to train myself to go up in this hierarchy of question asking habits. And I suggest you do the same. Don't discuss specifics, because specifics they are quite short-term concerns for most of us. We should go up on the level of abstraction. Next question. There is an interview with me which was published on some channel on another hosting website where the video is closed only for the people who subscribe to it. Am I against that, or it's okay for me? I know about this. I know that this video was published. I was informed today about that. And the video will be published on YouTube in probably 3 weeks. This is how the author of this channel is trying to make the profit. He's publishing the video for subscribers first, then they watch, they pay for that, and then later, what I think about that. So it looks like he's making money on me, right? So I'm like helping him to make money. I'm not against that overall. He's not making millions on that. He's not selling me for thousands of dollars. He's making some money so that he can maintain the channel. And I'm fine with that. I'm not asking any profit from that, obviously. I'm not getting any dollars from that. But if they have to do that to survive, then it's okay for me. Next question. Can you recommend books on Java by Schmidt and Eckel for beginners who want to get a good base on Java? Oh, definitely. I read those books, and I, in general, believe that the more books you read, the better. Don't try to find one book which is perfect for everything, which is going to be your favorite book. It may happen, but after you read 20 books about Java. But don't read them from the first line till the last line. I don't do that in general. Maybe the first book which you will read, you should read carefully, because you don't know Java at that point, you're not a professional yet, you need to grasp as many details as possible. But the second book, it will look very close to the first one. You will see that people talk about the same things. The third book will be even more familiar to you, even though you didn't read it yet. You haven't read it yet. But still, continue to read more and more of them. When I was learning Java, I think I read, at least 10 books about Java. And then I stopped at some point, and then I was ready to write a book. Let's put it this way. Don't limit yourself on the book writing, but don't read them slowly, read them fast. Usually, if you know Java already, if you write Java, if you read 2 or 3 books, then the book number 4 should take you maybe 2 days to read it. Just skim through it. Just go through the book quickly, jumping from page to page. It will help you to, first of all, to increase your self-confidence. You will believe in yourself way better than after reading just one book. You will see that you understand what they're talking about immediately. In the first book, you will be very surprised on every page. You will learn it, you will stop at every page, you will try maybe to code something. Everything will be a surprise to you. And it will create a lot of doubts about yourself. You will not like yourself. You will not like your professional level. And it's not okay. It's not going to be a comfortable experience. It's not going to be okay. But when the book number 5, the effect will be opposite. You will get the book, you will open it on any page, and you will say, hey, I know that. I know what you're talking about. I know this function. I know this method. I know this design pattern. I know all of that. So I'm smart. I'm professional. That's good. And you will enjoy reading those books, and you will enjoy your being Java programmer. That's what these books are mainly for. That's what I read them for. Let's put it this way. When I get some book about something which I know for sure, and I use it for many years, then I enjoy reading the books, because they will give me a lot of pleasure, a lot of fun, because I know what they're talking about, and I feel like we are the same kind. The writer of this book and me, we are the same, and that's amazing because he's definitely one of 100 people on the industry, because he or she is the writer of the book. But me, I'm just a programmer. But look, I understand everything. It means we are at the same level. That's amazing. That makes me comfortable, confident, and then I go back to code writing, very pleased about myself. Next question. Are you still selling your paintings? Where I can buy it? Yeah, I can. I still sell it. You can go to my website, to my blog, and then you go on the art, and then there you can find them, and they are on sale, I believe, on some websites. But I need to check actually, because those websites which are helping artists to sell the paintings, they, I believe, are, one website is in UK, another one is in America. So most probably they are not going to accept the shipment from Russia to them. That's a good question. Maybe similar websites exist for Russian people. I need to double check. I'll do it after the stream. Next question. Hello, I'm Cuban, software developer, Daryl. Hi. Experienced working with international teams, and I want to go to Russia next year. My Russian is almost an A2 level, but I'm fluent in English and Spanish. Daryl, you definitely are. You're definitely gonna be surprised by what you're gonna see in Russia. And if you will have an opportunity to stay in Russia, or maybe even find work in Russia, then you will be super happy and lucky. And if you're saying that you're fluent in English, then this will open basically any door for you in Russia, especially if you are an experienced software developer. I welcome you to Russia, not only to Moscow. You can come to any city, but better to start with Moscow, because the majority of large companies who are interested to hire international people, not Russian people, they are mostly in Moscow. I'm glad that you are coming to my channel. I'm glad that you're saying that in this channel. If you are really a good software engineer, then don't hesitate to email me when you arrive to Russia. Next question. How pet projects make impact to intern programmers? Are there any platforms for joining and developing pet projects? Well, if you are an intern programmer, meaning that you're a student, so you're young, the pet projects is something that you do not for money, but for fun. You do the development of something which nobody wants to pay for. Let's put it this way. And you're asking how that's going to make an impact to you. Well, there are basically, I would say, there's multiple things which will impact you, but let's iterate them. First, you will be able to show that projects to your employees in the future to get better job positions, to get better salaries. You will demonstrate to them that you are interested in making something on your own. You're not just working for a salary, doing what you're being told to do, but you're interested in making something new, something that excites you, something that's you're passionate about. Me, for example, as an employer, would definitely be interested to hire you versus some other guy who doesn't have that pet projects. That's first. Second, you will be able to learn any technology you want to learn by making pet projects. When you join a company and you work for an employer, you work for a boss, you do what the boss tells you to do. You use the technologies which they tell you to use. If you're lucky, those technologies will be something that you're interested in. It's not usually the case. Sometimes you have to work with something which is boring, which is not interesting, which is only taking your lifetime and is not training you, is not developing you as a developer, is not increasing your level. If you're doing a pet project, you can start a pet project now and use, for example, large language models there and see how they work. Or you can use quantum computing there and see how it works. How many job positions you know on the market where quantum computing is required? I don't know any. And you don't know any. But your pet project can be related to quantum computing. That's number 2. Number 3, you will potentially make money. If you make a pet project which eventually, suddenly, occasionally will attract attention of many people, and it happens sometimes, you may become very successful financially one day. This is how many startups, I'm not saying majority of them, I don't know exactly the numbers, but this is how many startups have been started, have been launched. People were just doing pet projects when they were kids, students, intern programmers. But then eventually they got noticed by the community and then by investors and then by money people. You may go the same direction. That's number 3. Number 4, in a pet project, which is actually number 1 for me, but maybe number 4 for you. In a pet project, you are the king. You set your own rules of quality. You design the software the way you believe is right. You format your code the way you want to format it. You use the unit testing and integration testing the way you believe is right. You use the build automation the way you believe is right. And you have enough time in order to practice that, in order to experiment with that. This is something that not so many employers will allow you to do. The employer will tell you, we already have the certain unit testing practices set up there. For example, we have no unit tests. And that's the way it is. Don't write unit tests because we believe this is not important. We believe we don't have money for that. We believe we don't have time for that. We believe that unit tests are something that we will eventually have to throw away anyway. So don't write them. And that happens. But in your pet project, you can use the most advanced and the most effective practices of software engineering, which will give you, first of all, the understanding of how they work, and at the same time, that will train you to use them. You will become way more professional than you can become after 3 years of working in a large enterprise where people don't write unit tests. In a pet project, you can in a few months practice what people don't practice in years when they sit in an enterprise project. It is only lucky when you join a large enterprise project and you find out that people use unit tests over there. It's super big luck for you as a developer. And you find that these people there actually care about quality of code. They care about CI/CD automation. It may happen, but you only can wish for that. If it already happened to you, then of course, don't waste your time on a pet project if your team right now is super professional. But usually it's not. Next question. How do you feel about Kotlin programming language? Do you think it's better than Java? You guys keep asking me this question almost every time. I feel that this is a good language. But we need to understand that that's a syntax sugar on top of Java. You can invent your own Kotlin, let's put it this way. You can invent many languages like Kotlin. They will all look different. They will all have different syntax constructs. They will all use different compilation techniques. Everything may be different, but you have to understand that that's a syntax sugar for Java virtual machine, for the bytecode. Of course it's good because many people say that it's better than Java. Then the syntax is more compact, then certain things are automatically checked by the compiler. For example, null checking is better done there, and many other things. So if you are into that, if you have time to learn it, then do it. I haven't had a chance to use Kotlin because like Java. Let's put it this way. I think that Java is, even though there are problems with Java, I understand that Java is sometimes too verbose. Too many letters you have to type in order to create a Java listing, and comparing to the Kotlin, which is shorter. So Kotlin is good, but we need to understand what it is. Next question. My boss believes that a programmer should be evaluated because of how much money he brings to the company. I believe that the quality of its code should be evaluated. How do you rate employees? That's a good question, because I agree with you and disagree with your boss, definitely. The boss is trying to shift his or her responsibility to you. The boss wants the money, of course. The boss wants to make more money. He wants the product to be sold to the customers more effectively, blah, blah, blah. But his job is to decompose this objective into smaller objectives, which are aligned with your professional skills, with what you can do. And they fail to do that sometimes, very often actually. They just transfer what they got to you directly. And this is how they demotivate us programmers. This is how they make us frustrated, and we'll lose the interest in the project if this happens, because we cannot anyhow or almost anyhow affect or impact the amount of money the company is getting for the product. We just cannot do that. It's just not what we do. We write code, we write unit tests, we write integration tests. We don't make money. It's not our job. But these managers, they believe that this is our job. I can give you a metaphor to explain that better. Imagine that let's say you build a house, a hotel, and well, maybe it's not a good metaphor. I'm thinking how to compare. Maybe let's forget the metaphor. Just that's enough. What I said is enough. So you as a developer is definitely right, but I'm thinking what's the solution? I'm thinking what you can do with this if you have this situation and these people are and your boss is trying to do that. It will be impossible for you to explain to the boss what I just told you, because you will basically tell him that he's an incompetent manager. He's a bad manager. But you don't do that to a boss, right? Because that's not going to go anywhere. You probably have to suggest to your boss certain metrics which he can rely on. You're saying in your question that you believe that the quality of code must be evaluated. My question to you, if I would be your boss and you come to me with that and say, please evaluate my quality of code, I would ask you, how do I evaluate the quality of code? Can you give me the instruments? Can you show me what is your current quality of code? Is it 5 or 6.9 or it's 19? What is your current metric? And in most cases, programmers don't do that, don't know that. You just say nothing in return. You just say, my quality is high. I'm a good programmer because the quality of my code is high. You don't trust me? Look at my code. This is what most programmers say. When you come to them and say, what's your quality of code? They say, look at it. Oh, you don't understand, so you're a bad programmer. That's it. Because look at my code. It's beautiful. It's great. You must understand it. If you don't, then you're not a good expert. But we understand that that's not how it should be. You as a programmer, you must find a way how to turn your work into numbers, how to convert your quality as you believe it is into some, maybe one number, maybe a vector of numbers, and then you present it to your boss and you say, look at the numbers. If these numbers go up, it means that I work better. How about you pay attention to these numbers? And there should be a connection between these numbers and the money you're getting. There should be a connection. Of course, I cannot guarantee you that there is a connection, a literal connection or direct connection, but there is a connection. I would say, believe me, if you would be my boss, I would say, trust me, if we increase the quality, then the business effect will come. I've been in this situation once, well, at least once in my life, when there was a business and the business owner, the CTO of the business, asked me to improve their situation, the technical situation on the market. They had a website, and the website was going down down, being unavailable every second day. And they were super frustrated about that, because they had investors, and investors were expecting them to keep the website up and running, because for obvious reasons. So they sort of hired me, and they said, improve it, like fix it, make it better. And I told them, I cannot fix it now. I cannot fix it myself, because there was a team of like 40 programmers. What I can do is I can find certain metrics in your team right now, and I'm telling you that these metrics are low at this moment, but if we make them higher, let's say by 2 times in the next half a year, then your amount of downtimes will be decreased. Don't ask me for the downtimes. But this example is not exactly your example, because in your case, the boss is trying to connect the money with your performance. But in my case, it was easier, because they were trying to connect availability of the website with my work, which is also difficult to connect, but easier than in your case. And then I remember that I showed them these metrics, and I told them that this is important. They disagreed. The boss, the CTO, he didn't like that approach initially, in the beginning. He said, I'm not interested in your metrics. I'm interested not to have the downtimes. I'm interested in the availability of my website. So why do you play these games with the metrics? It's not a university here. It's a real business. It's a serious business. That's what he told me. That was like 15 years ago. And I was convincing him that, look, these metrics, they do make sense. They are important. We should focus on them. And then eventually your availability will go up. And it did happen, but in half a year. You should do something similar. You should say, hey, your money will go up when my numbers will also go up. Just let me show you the numbers. Let me focus on these numbers. Don't tell me the stories about money. I don't want to listen about that, because it kind of annoys me. The metaphor I wanted to give you is this. Imagine you are building a house. You help somebody to build a house. You're just a worker who is not doing any intelligent work, but just actually building the house, doing some manual work every day. And then the owner of that house comes to you and says, I want to sell this house for $1 million. So work better. I want you to focus on this work more, because I want to make $1 million. So do the good work. What are you going to feel about that? Are you going to be interested to contribute to his $1 million by doing your work? Absolutely not. You will be annoyed by that. You will be jealous. You will be not happy. You're not going to feel motivated to listen to these stories that your work, where you got paid just a little bit, is actually helping some guy to become richer, right? But that's exactly what your boss is doing. The boss is coming to you and saying, hey, I want to be rich. I want to make more money. So you do your work better. If it's not slavery, then what it is? The boss should not make it sound like that. The boss should come and stay quiet about the incomes, quiet about the revenue, because this is the information which doesn't help programmers to be more motivated, and focus on things which are relevant to the work we do. The amount of files, the amount of tests, the amount of your productivity and all that. Okay, next question. Did you work with developer under 18 for a few years, and do even companies hire such people? Well, actually, I had a case last year when the guy wanted to join our team and he was 16. So he was really young, a schoolboy who wanted to join. He was a developer already, and I really wanted this to happen, but it didn't happen. So the HR said, no, we can't do that. We can only hire after 18. I don't know why, because in my opinion, people are allowed to work at any time. Because when I was a kid, I was working I remember we were doing some simple job as a postman when I was like 14, I think, or something, maybe even less. Why it's not possible now, I don't know. Maybe it's just a precaution of the HR. They just don't want to have any corner cases, just to be safe. But I would love to. I would love to work with somebody who is so young, because I believe in this age we can learn faster. We can train that guy faster. We can make him do what is right way easier. I said it many times that I really love to work with people who are younger. I don't like older programmers. I don't like people who are 40 plus, because it's very hard to work with them. They already have well-established beliefs about what is right, what is wrong. And I believe this is why the majority of viewers of my YouTube channel is younger than 40. Actually, the average age of these channel viewers is 28. This is by the statistics which YouTube is giving me. 28 years old. And that's great. I would really love to see that this number goes even lower. And my personal opinion about these older guys is that they are, in most cases, they're difficult to deal with. Maybe I'm the same as them. With me, it's also difficult to deal with, I believe, because I have some certain established concepts in my mind, certain habits, certain principles. It's hard to change them. It's hard to switch to a different set of principles. Next question. Is it possible to get a job in Russia with my level of English and my almost no level of Russian? Well, actually, I have one guy who works in my team right now who doesn't speak Russian at all. And he works full time. He only speaks English. In the office, he doesn't speak Russian at all. And I'm talking about Moscow. So, Daryl, don't worry about this at all. We do have the problem with the English-speaking environment in Russia. So if you travel to Russia and if you start talking English to a policeman, for example, or to a ticket selling person, or it's going to be somebody, the taxi driver, then it's going to be hard. In most cases, they will not understand you. Well, unless it's a like business class taxi driver, or it's like a business class train ticket seller or something like that. But regular people, their level of English is way lower than same workers, the same jobs in Europe, for example. If you go to Spain, if you go to Amsterdam, well, Amsterdam is a special case, but if you go to Spain, if you go to Germany even, if you go to France, still, you will be able to communicate with them. You will be able to order a cup of coffee in a restaurant and a dish and a lunch in a restaurant in Germany if you speak English. Absolutely no problem. But in Russia, it's going to be a problem for you. But that's just life around the office. When you go to the office in an IT company, software company, there will be absolutely no problems for you. Everybody will speak English to different levels, but everybody. Next question. What is your opinion about the role of system analyst? Is it the same situation as QA and DevOps? Some time ago, they branched from developers. Well, system analysts, to my knowledge and in my opinion, is the role which is very important, but very unprofessional, I would say, in most cases. People call themselves system analysts. They call themselves even product managers. They call themselves requirements engineers, which is, in my opinion, all the same three titles. All very close. But they're not really the people with these skills which are required to do that kind of job. The system analyst is somebody who, first of all, understands UML. and understands UML professionally? How many system analysts or product managers you know who speak UML, who draw UML diagrams when they communicate with developers? Probably zero. You probably don't know the people of that kind. Well, we don't know programmers who speak UML, right? They maybe they exist somewhere, but not in modern software teams. But system analyst is the person who must be super professional in the languages like UML, in the languages which help us translate business requirements to the system level and explain them the way the programmers don't need to talk to business people. They just talk to documents. They don't even talk to the system analyst. The programmers must talk to the document which is written by system analyst. And of course, it's not happening in the industry right now. That's my opinion about this role. So I believe that if we have this role and we have the person at this role with the professional level of system analysis and requirements engineering, then it would be very helpful for the whole team. But having there just a guy who was a programmer before and now he doesn't like to write code anymore, he's just tired of doing that, and now he wants to be called a system analyst, it's just a programmer with the same salary but no code writing, it's not really something that may help our team. It's just, it's sad to see that happening. It's very close, you're right, it's very close to the QA position, it's very close to DevOps. Well, DevOps is more, is something that requires hard skills, and it's not so easy to be a DevOps, to be called a DevOps, not really having the hard skills. But being a system analyst and knowing nothing about programming and system analysis and UML, it's super easy. Nobody will understand what's going on for a long time. Next question, please explain in more details how to deal with this professional burnout when higher ranking employee who is much less competent than you starts saying or suggesting some nonsense. Adam, that's a super good question. I don't have the answer, unfortunately. I've been in these situations. I am sometimes in these situations. And I said it many times that the higher the person on the hierarchy, the less competent that person will be. Usually this is what's happening. These people who move up, they are not moving up because of their technical competence in the majority of cases, but they're moving up because of their ability to communicate with the manager who is on top of them, the ability to survive under stress, the ability of talking to people, knowing how to talk to different people, all those skills which have nothing to do with the technical competence. And the best way to do in this case, when these people are telling you what to do and trying to boss around, is just to nod and say yes, and then just ignore them. Usually they do that not because they want you to write code the way they tell you to write code, but because they want to show you who is the boss. They want to establish the position of power. And in order to do that, they need to remain in the position of technical competence. They cannot just walk away and say, hey guys, I have no idea what you're doing. I just trust you. I am now a manager who is not a programmer anymore. That's dangerous for them because everybody, well, you understand why it's dangerous, because you personally can rat on them. You can go to their boss and say, hey, he's incompetent. He just confirmed that personally. He just said it out loud in the office. He said, I don't understand how machine learning works. I'm a manager now. Oh, that's something you can bring to some other manager, and that's it. The guy is done. So the guy has to create an image, has to create a perception that he is competent. So your job is to just listen quietly, say yes, of course, you're so smart, we confirm that, bye-bye, and he just walks away. That's it. He's not going to check how you did that. He just wants you to obey. He wants you to bow and admit who is the boss here. So do it. Do it. Don't sabotage. Don't object. Don't argue. Just let him be what he is. That's the best recommendation. Because you cannot argue with this guy. He will be very annoyed if you argue with him. It's going to be a fight in the office. You don't need that. You're going to lose. In this fight, you will lose. Next question. Okay. Next question. Is the age difference between a man and a woman for a relationship 13, 15 years normal? That's an interesting question. For example, if a man is 40 or 45 and the woman is 27, 30, I think yes, but what do you think about this? Well, it's not really a question about software engineering, and and I'm not really an expert in that kind of science, but I think that well, I think it's okay. In my personal understanding of the balance between the genders, I believe that this organization of the society where the difference between man and woman is that big, like 15 years or 25 years, then it only creates more stable relationship, and it's more it makes the society more healthy. It's just my observation. Then when the kid is 18 years old and a girl is 18 years old, then it's very different creatures. They are on a very different level of their understanding of life, of their readiness to make a pair with the opposite gender. They are just very different by their by the way they developed and by the level of development, physical, mental, psychological, everything. So to make a match between equal ages is just difficult to maintain such a pair. But when a man is way older, then the amount of everything that he can give to the marriage is way bigger. He can support this marriage. He's more stable mentally. He's more stable financially. He's more stable even physically. He is definitely somebody who a young woman can rely on. But that maybe goes in an opposite direction with the definition of love. And people may say that it's weird when the man is 40 and the girl is 18, then how can they fall in love? That's unnatural, somebody may say. I think that the way we make pairs, the way we marry each other, depends on the rules and principles of the society. If the society tells you that this is right, then you think it's right. If the society tells you that it's okay to have such a big difference in ages, then it's okay. If society tells you that it's okay to get married when you are 14, then you'll do that. Like read the books which are 200 years old about Russia, about America. The girls they were getting married when they were 14, 15. Now we believe it's wrong. Maybe in the next 100 years we're going to believe into something else. In 100 years, we're going to believe maybe that it's in general wrong to get married. Now we think it's okay. Now we still believe that marriage is something that is important. But it looks like the trajectory goes into the way where we start believing that we don't need that. That's something from the very old generations. Like 100 years ago, yes, people, they were doing that, but we don't do that anymore. We just don't do it. We make kids some other way. We don't fall in love anymore. We don't get married. We don't stay together. We just make kids, and those kids are being grown up in some special organizations, some hospitals, and we just walk away in separate directions. We just don't make pairs anymore. I think this is what's going to happen. Of course, not in 10 years, but in 100 years, it all looks like we're getting there. Next question. what are some of the metrics you track in your team to ensure best software engineering practices? Well, we try to track the amount of contribution people make. And by the amount of contribution, we means there are not so many metrics you can measure in software development. The number of pull requests, the more you make, the better. The number of issues or bugs that you report, the more bugs you report, the better. Well, I mean accepted bugs. And pull requests, of course, accepted pull requests. The pull requests which went through the code review. And bugs which were accepted by the architect of the project. The more lines of code you write, the better. Of course, the lines of code which were accepted by the code reviewer and the architect of the team. Not just the lines of code which you generate and you believe that's it. You need to write those lines of code and they should be accepted by us. And we will say that's the right amount of lines of code for this particular problem that you solve. Then of course, the more lines like that you wrote, the better programmer you, the more productive programmer you are on this period of time. Also, we count the number of releases. The more frequently the team makes releases, the better. If you release frequently every week, then that's a good team. If you release once every 3 months, then that's not a good team. We also count the number of failed builds. The more frequently the build fails on the master branch, the bigger the trouble in the team. If the team has 50% build rejection rate, build failure rate, then that's a team with a trouble in their automation of testing, of integration of everything. And that's it probably. Those are the metrics which I suggest you calculate and you will be good. Next question. Bottom up or top down design for object-oriented programming? Well, another good question. Well, of course, when you start a project, you're supposed to go with the top down, but now I'm thinking, and I believe that I go bottom up usually. But maybe it's just me. I'm thinking about how my objects will be designed, how my objects will look, will I love to see this design of my objects, of my smallest elements of the architecture. And if I feel that they will look great, then I go to the higher level of design, and then I start thinking how to compose them together, how they will talk to each other. But the design of every individual object matters more for me than the overall design of the application. Maybe that's just my personal taste. Because the overall design, I feel that I can kind of change it if my objects are well designed, if my objects are well structured, if my objects have perfectly named methods, if my objects have small size, if every single object I can easily unit test, then I kind of feel that the development of this system will be a fun for me. And if it's fun, I can tolerate the changes in the architecture. No matter how different the architecture is, I will be able to change it, to modify it, to introduce new layers, blah, blah, blah. But my objects, they will be nice. They will be good-looking objects. That's what matters for me first. Next question. What are your plans for YouTube is completely blocked in Russia? That's a good question. I'm thinking about that. Well, first of all, it's not going to be... Well, Instagram is blocked in Russia, but I have so many followers on Instagram and they keep subscribing to me, and their names are Russian names. Instagram is blocked, but I keep using it and it doesn't stop me at all. I think I will not stop using YouTube, definitely, and I believe that most of you will continue coming to me and continue listening to me. If you stop coming to me, that's a better question. Let's say YouTube is blocked, and we all believe that it will be blocked. Let's say it is blocked, and let's say that after that, maybe in a few months, I will see that the traffic goes down, and you stop coming, and I stop getting the audience, and that will be a question. That will be another Yeah, another question to answer. Then I will just go to Russian platforms. We have Russian platforms which do exactly the same. I don't care. Let me put it this way. This YouTube channel, YouTube platform, or VK platform, or TikTok or Instagram, it doesn't matter. These guys are just guys who transfer the information. They just help me to deliver my thoughts to you. If it's not YouTube, then it's going to be somebody else. We don't work for YouTube. We don't care about YouTube. Today it's YouTube. Tomorrow it's a different platform. It's not important. What's important is what we say, what we tell each other. And if it's going to be some other platform, I've seen in my life many different platforms. YouTube it appeared on the market just how many years ago? 18, maybe 20 years ago. But before that, we had different platforms, other platforms for delivering the information. They're gone. We don't have them anymore. But so what? We're still here. We still produce the information. We produce the knowledge. We communicate. Who exactly is the postman? It doesn't matter. So I don't feel anything bad about that. They will block YouTube. So what? They will stop me from saying what I'm saying. That's a different concern. But by blocking YouTube, they're not going to stop me. If they block my channel on YouTube, that will be a different story. That I will, of course, be not so happy about that, which may happen as well, because you know what I'm saying. So they may eventually block my channel. In this case, I lose, of course, a lot. I lose the information which I posted before. I lose the people who can listen to my previous mumbling. But just blocking YouTube, it's not a big problem. Next question. At work, if a pull request has poor tests and the person lacks testing knowledge, what should you do? Reject the pull request, request proper tests, or ask them not to write tests because no test is better than useless tests? Well, that's another good question. Well, it depends on your relationship with this person, and depends on your position in the team, and depends on what you're trying to achieve with the team. Sometimes these pull requests are coming in open source as well. Yeah, they just submit whatever they want, and then you have to make a decision what to do. To reject, to demand more work, and just accept it and just write the unit tests on your own because you want to have unit tests, but you understand that this guy is not competent enough to create unit tests. But it's good that this guy actually wrote something, at least something. Depends on your situation in the team. If you're the boss of the team, for example, if you are the architect of the team and you have, let's say, 10 people who are not as competent as you expect them to be, but your objective is to make them competent, is to increase the quality in the team, increase the knowledge, the skills of the team, then you play the bad cop. So you become a bad cop, you demand the unit test, you reject the pull request, you basically punish them and punish because rejection is punishment. You reject the pull request. This is the punishment for the lack of quality, the lack of contribution. But if you cannot, well, you need to know that you're allowed to punish. Punishment is great. It's a great instrument if you can apply it. You know, like as they say, any problem you can solve with violence, but if you cannot solve it with violence, you can solve it with more violence. The same with punishment in the software development. You can solve any problem with punishment, but you need to be aware how much punishment you can apply. And in most teams, in most companies, you cannot apply much because they will react the way that you will not be able to react back. For example, they will complain about your behavior. They will complain that you reject their pull request, that you delay the delivery of the product, for example. He will go to the boss and say that he just rejected my pull request, but my code must be in production because the customer is waiting. And then the big boss will come to you and say, what's going on? And you will say, I care about the quality. But he says, I don't care about your quality. We need to make money. That's it. So your punishment instrument, your punishment mechanism is not working. And you will be the bad guy. They will blame you for not helping the business. But of course, like I said, again, the stronger the punishment, the stronger the rules of quality, the more professional will be the team, the more skills they will have, the better will be the product. But think when and how to apply those sticks. Next question, and we are close to the end. A personal question, if you don't mind. Okay, let's try. What criteria do you use to choose the woman you plan to marry, or you are a singleton? Let me check. Is it the same guy asking who asked me about the? Oh, that's a different people. Okay. Well, Dmitry, what criteria to choose the woman to plan to marry? Well, to marry, I would say that the most important criteria is well, if you are smart and you really approach this question with a thinking, not we should put aside the love and the passion and all that things, even though they exist. So we shouldn't scratch them out. We understand that they exist and they are important, and sometimes they're more important. Don't take me wrong. I don't want to look like a person who says this question must be answered with a cold mind, and that's how you do it. Definitely not. You fall in love and you get married, and then 5 years later you ask yourself, why did I do that? It happens to the majority of us. We all do that because love is love. It's just a emotional thing which happens through the hormones, and we can't control that. But if you can control that, let's put it this way, if you can take love out of the picture and all your emotions out of the picture, then most probably you should pay attention to first, what family is this lady coming from? The family should be as, I would say, traditional and as classic and as well established and as stable as possible. So if, let's say, a lady is coming from a family where there is no father, then think twice. Again, I'm not saying that love is not important. Maybe she's a beautiful person and she's a very nice person, and then of course definitely get married. But if you compare two women, and one you love, and another you, if it's possible, another one you like and love, then compare criteria number one is the family she is coming from. The standards that exist in that family will be the standards of your family. The principles, the habits, the traditions, the moral standards, the morality of that family will become your family standards, your family morality. Do you want that? Look at that. Look at what's happening there. Look how they live, how their mother and father, how they live, how their grandmother and grandfather live, how they talk to each other, how they deal with money, how they deal with their kids, how they raise their kids. The same will happen to you. The majority of those things will be copied and you will have the same. If you like those things, then get married. That's criteria number one, probably. And maybe criteria number two is whether, maybe I'll say something very unpopular, but is whether the lady, the person, the woman is ready to accept that you are the man. Well, since it's a man asking, so I believe the question, for finding a woman. So if she is ready to play the second role in your family, I believe in the more or less clear segregation of the roles in any communication, not only in a family, in the office as well, in the management as well. I don't believe, as you probably know, I don't believe in flat teams. I don't believe in teams with no boss. I believe in a clear, strictly defined hierarchy. I'm the boss, you follow my orders. You're the boss, I follow your orders. This is what I believe is an effective communication between any group of people. be it a team or be it a family. In a family, there should be also a hierarchy. Should be the boss, should be the underboss, should be the kids, and this hierarchy must be well established. If the woman who you want to marry is interested to maintain this hierarchy, if she likes this idea that she's gonna be at the second position, if she's not just saying, well, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that if you pay enough, then I will be there. Of course, if my husband is rich, then I will be fine on the second position. It's not really what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody who is interested to play the second role, the supporting role, the role of a lady, not of a husband. Then that's criteria number 2. In this case, you will be comfortable building your hierarchy, your micro hierarchy, and your family is your hierarchy. It's your empire. You build it and you become sort of a king in this empire. And if everybody in this empire will support you, they will listen to you, they will support you, they will respect you, then your hierarchy, your empire will be built faster, better, will become more stable. But if you're going to have 2 bosses, if you're going to have 2 leaders in the family, if you're going to be, or even worse, maybe you're going to have the lady who wants to be the boss, then it's going to be difficult. Again, it's my opinion. Maybe in your case it's different, but you ask me, my criteria. These are my 2 basic criteria. All right. Thanks for the personal question. It was hard to answer, but I tried to be as polite as possible, so not to offend too many women who watch this channel. Next, last question, and we finish. Let me pick anyone. We don't have too many. Have you, okay, let's take this one. Have you read the book Drive by Daniel Pink? The book goes against carrot and stick approach and suggests a different way to motivate people. It'd be nice to hear your thoughts on the idea. Yeah, I read that book. I definitely read that book when I was in California. When I lived there, many people suggested me to read the book. They said this is the right book because it explains how people get motivated. I don't believe in that. I don't like this idea. I don't believe people get motivated like that. It's just fake theory, in my opinion. I think that people are motivated by jealousy, by greed, by love, by hormones. I believe in things which are well explainable. The things that they're talking about in this book, the author is talking in this book, they are something that impossible to measure but easy to talk about. It's like saying you fall in love and you build a great family. You can say that, but in the end, you're going to see a lot of people suffering from your advice because your advice is very vague. Your advice doesn't give specifics. Your advice is not based on logic. You're just addressing your message to people's emotions. You're just saying, be nice, enjoy what you do, have fun. Go to the office as you go to your family. Yeah, that all sounds nice. All of that sounds nice. But how to apply that in reality? Because we have lazy people, we have bad people, we have liars, we have traitors. We have many things on the office, in the family, everywhere, which doesn't fit in this concept of a paradigm on earth. There is no paradigm. The majority of people are bad. The majority of people are lazy. The majority of people are interested to see you fail instead of see you succeeding. How to deal with them? The book doesn't give an answer. The book doesn't explain how to punish people. The book doesn't explain how to fight with people. The book doesn't explain how to betray people who betrayed you. The book says we all are motivated by great future that we're looking into, and we just love to share our thoughts with other people. It's easy to sell that book, but it's impossible to apply this to practice. I suggest, let me finish, my advice to you, be practical, be pragmatic, look at the reality the way it is. Look at what's happening and don't be afraid of that. Try to face the reality. And the books like that, they're not They are good for the book, for the people who write those books, and they're good for the people who go with this book around the office at the same time, betraying every single person because they can, because they know. So people who will tell you that this book is great, be aware and be on alert against these people, because these people, they're either stupid, which is also not good, or they are crooks. They're trying to scam you by giving you these fall in love with everything ideas. Thanks for coming today. I'm sorry for my